in Texas. Join me Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. as I count down the top 10 Texas Red Dirt songs that are packing the dance floor. I'll be featuring local artists and the story behind the hits, shows in the area, as well as new songs that make you want to dance. It's Dance Time in Texas with DJ Mike on Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5 KCZW and 106.1 KZCC, Conroe, Texas, or online, irlonestar.com.
Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us on the Cindy Cochran Show. Of course, along with me as my sidekick, Richard Schischler, and he will evoke his own, what he thinks about things, and you never know what he's going to say. I just always have to be so careful about letting him speak too much. But today, and today only, he'll probably just be really quiet and let me talk to this author that we have. Tom Logan is with us, and Tom has written an incredible book, and it's a very personal book, and it's something that is on the news every day. I mean, every day of your life. Y'all have heard about this because since we've been able to transmit television signals for all across the world, we know what's going on everywhere, even though you want to or not. You'd rather just say, just tell me what's happened in Conroe. That's all I want to know. But we know that there's wars and rumors of wars, and that's what it says in the Bible, is that that's always going to be around. So you just got to get used to it. It's kind of mankind. And I say mankind because women would never fight as much as men do. Isn't that right, Tom?
Yeah, unfortunately, I wish it would stop, but it hasn't, and it's still going on.
It just keeps going on and on. And Tom Logan lost his son in the war, and it was a helicopter crash, and 6 other people were there with him. Was it 6 other people, or was it 6?
6 total. Yeah, 6
total.
Marines total. Yeah.
And went down with that helicopter, and of course, it's every parent's nightmare that you get a call like that. It just, you figure, okay, in 5 years now I'm not going to think about this like I do now. It's going to be different. And sometimes that just doesn't happen that way. And so Tom's here to talk about what happened and what incredible fishing trip and tour they took. And it was before this crash. And they had a bonding time like you wouldn't believe. And he'll tell you how many thousands of miles they traveled going to different places and fishing. I mean, I thought you'd just go down to the crook and throw in the line, and that was going to be, be it. But no, they went off to Bangladesh. Would you go to Bangladesh?
I wish. No, we stay in the United States.
You stay in the United States. Can you get a little closer to the mic?
Bring closer.
He's so laid back.
Yeah.
So,
Lean back chair. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Tom, Joey is his name,
Right.
and that's it. We wanted to tell the names of the others that were in that helicopter. Mm-hmm. Can you just name them off the top of your head?
Yeah, the pilot was Daniel Bartle, and the co-pilot was another captain, Nathan McCone. Travis Riddick was a master sergeant, and there was Joey naturally, and Kevin Reinhart, and it's hard. It's really hard to name these guys. And
I know.
Jesse Sipes was the last one. They're all corporals.
It is because it is something that happens if you've had somebody pass, and especially in a tragic way, and no matter what year, but something that you see that reminds you, something that you smell, or you put on an old jacket and go like, oh, I remember when I wore this. So the memories are always there, and it's hard to reconcile a lot of times with all of that. And I think you've been very courageous and to write a book. It's because you have to go over everything.
I started journaling from the first day to knock on the door. It was 10:30 at night on the 18th of 2012, and there's a day difference. It was the 19th in Afghanistan. I don't know how it works, but that's how it is. And Debbie went to the door first. And he said, "There's 2 Marines at the door, and one looks like Joey." I said, "No, it can't be. We just talked to him this morning." He called us the day he died in the morning.
Oh.
And he said, "I'm coming home in 28 days. I got leave. And I'm going to go visit all my living relatives. I'm just take your truck, and I'm going to go all over the country." I said, "It's impossible." The conversation was not like a normal 22-year-old. He was talking about buying property in Montana, which is, later on in our conversation. And he said, "I want to move to Montana, buy some property, build some cabins for my Marine Corps buds to come back and visit, go to school, hopefully find a good woman, raise a family, and live a simple life." And that was our last, phone call with him. And he went on and on and on. And the different thing about that is that at his funeral, every living relative that we had came to his funeral.
Oh, that's...
So how do you predict your own death? I don't know. But you're at war, every soldier, every Marine, somebody's going to die.
Yeah.
And to be living that every day, he was there for 7 months on this deployment. They were scheduled for 8 or 9. Yeah, and it was a different conversation for a young man like that, because normal 22-year-olds are, I'm gonna come home, go party, hang out with my friends, and
Right.
do whatever I want. And he already has life planned, and it would have been great if he did.
You think the Marines just helped him really grow up quickly?
Oh yeah.
And
He left a 19-year-old little punk, really high school graduate, and man, when he came back, he came out of basic, and when he came home from his first deployment, I'm like, this is a real man. Yeah, I used to mess with him after that. I'm like, no, I'm not touching the kid because I'll get hurt.
Yeah. Oh, because were you were a police officer?
Yeah, I worked for Houston for 28 years, and my wife Debbie also worked 21 years with Houston. So we've been around. I was in the Air Force during the Vietnam era. So was my wife, and I was a weapons instructor. So we've been busy. Our whole family has, and even our family, dating back to my grandfather on the Italian side. His name is Giuseppe. We named Joey after him, translated to English. And he immigrated to the United States from Italy. He loved his country so much that he enlisted in the Army, American Army, and went back to France and fought in some of the major trench war battles there. And my dad, my uncles, all were World War II veterans. I got another uncle who was Korean War veteran. Debbie and I were, Vietnam era veterans, and we had 3 kids active duty, Joey, Tommy, and Andy, in the Gulf Wars fighting all at one time.
Goodness.
So
wow.
We've been busy.
Well, you have.
Yeah.
And how I just almost want to make the sign of the cross while talking about you were a police officer in Houston for that many years.
Oh, yeah, it was fun.
I can't imagine. I just
Yeah.
can't imagine.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in Houston,
Right.
and we started moving north and got all the way to Willis, and then my husband passed last year, and so I came a little bit closer. I was went to the Woodlands, and that's about it. I mean, I had gotten where I could not stand to drive into Houston. I mean, I'd do anything if I didn't have to drive into Houston, because that's where, you lived and you saw it change so much, and it was just got dangerous. And
yeah, I think when I retired, I retired the same year, 2008, that Joey's going to go in the Marine Corps, because I told my wife I'm retiring, and I'm going fishing for the first year after I retired. She says, "Well, you're a fishaholic, you might as well go, but you're taking him with you." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm taking him with me." But it's a short story. He had cut his hand really bad, messing around with his friends, and he severed the nerves and artery and tendon in his wrist. And he called me 2, 3 in the morning, Dad, blood is gushing out of my wrist. I said, "Well, have your friends take you to the hospital, put a tourniquet on it, and go ahead and we'll meet you down there." And they fixed it, but it was 8 hours of surgery.
Did you say that calmly?
What's that?
Well, why don't you get some of your friends to fix that, and then
Well, we
go to the hospital?
couldn't get to him in time. If he had just did what he was doing, he would have bled out.
I know, but I'd still been screaming like, "What?"
Well, we raised 5 kids, so after a while you quit
After a while,
screaming
you
out.
get used to it.
Yeah,
You get used to it. Well, you have 5 children.
yeah.
Oh my word.
Yeah.
That's That's amazing in and of itself. I mean, have
Yeah,
to.
3 of them were in the military. Joey's in the Marine Corps. His younger sister Andy went in the Marine Corps after him, and then oldest son Tommy, he's still in the Navy. I think he's got 16 or 17 years right now. So he's still active duty. Yeah.
Now that is amazing, because you would think that some of the kids would see how hard you had it, how difficult it was, and what you have to go through to do any kind of service work, like a police officer, fireman, or anything like that, and go, I'm gonna be a contractor. I'm gonna be, I'm gonna work at a bar. That's what I'm gonna do. And so they would do something totally opposite from that. But you gave them, apparently, you gave them that servant's heart, where they want to serve and they want to do this and they want to keep their buddies safe.
Yeah, you don't realize that your kids are watching you their whole life growing up.
That's right.
And they emulate what you do. And if you give them a good example, and hopefully they learn from that and do what's right. And, that's what happened with these kids,
Well, you see what's happening with all the protesting and these kids at these big, expensive colleges, and they're out there screaming and kicking, and now they're attacking the Tesla cars and all that because they're so mad, and they don't know what they're mad about. When you start asking them, what is it that you want to be so mad about, and they really can't tell you. But so a lot of kids, and you go like, where were their parents? Where are their parents? Because they shouldn't be, shouldn't be doing stuff like this, because they're hurting the police, they're hurting the people going to school. So it's just, it really is. You've done something right, man.
They need to meet some of these Marines and soldiers.
Yes.
And see what these guys have gone through.
Yeah.
And what they're made out of compared to what's going on now.
Well, that's why it's a shame. You can't just, okay, y'all gonna act like this? Okay, call the Guard, call the Marines, and bring them in, and let's get rid of these kids. And I just love that they're gonna revoke all their passports, those that came here and shouldn't be here. But it's just so amazing to me. And then when I find out that that it was the Marines probably that helped him, but you got him started, and he had the image of what you did, what you expected, and how you wanted things to go.
I remember him when he was younger. Matter of fact, my daughter Tricia probably took the pictures, or my wife did it. He took one of my HPD uniforms and wanted to go trick or treating in it. So I mean that's.
How old was he?
God, probably 8 or 9 years old.
8 or 9 years old.
And
well,
he always had that protector instinct in him. Even in high school, if somebody was picking on somebody, he said, this ain't gonna go on. And there were a few fights happening, and school would call. And
so that's it's kind of like you saw it way back then.
Yeah.
That was, that was his nature that he wanted to do.
They're a rare breed. That less than 1% now has served this country, and
right.
I don't know what the 99 9/10ths are doing, but that's how it works. But
no, and they're hopefully getting more and more. They come out with these. Did he ever see like a commercial about be all you can be kind of thing? And
I don't think
did
so.
Did he ever feel that he?
I know he looked at all the branches of the military, and he had certain visions of each one, and he said, well, the Air Force looks like they have bus driver uniforms, and the Army's got a lot of career fields, but, and he said, not going in the Navy, but he didn't realize that the Marine Corps is part of the Navy. And so he found out.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and then.
Did he get seasick easy? Well, y'all were fishing boats all the time.
Yeah.
So he was used to being on the water.
Well, I don't think he ever saw water except for qualification when they had to swim out of a sunken helicopter and swim to the surface.
My goodness.
And tread water till they got rescued. That was part of their training.
With that uniform on?
Yeah, full gear. Yeah. Those guys went through a lot.
That process that they go through, and we just see movies of it, and
but it's not real.
And
it's not real.
It's not real. No. And the personality that they have. Was he someone that went up, or you feel like he would be going up in the ranks because he was a protector, And
Yeah,
was,
he ended up coming home on recruiter's assistance and recruited his sister. So I'm like, thanks, Joe. Just get another stripe. It worked, but Andy did really good. She ended up getting a master's degree. She was in Marine Intel, so she's up in Maryland now, teaching up there. She's out of the Corps. Yeah, but she had the easy life. She was in Hawaii, Japan, Korea, back to Hawaii, and sounded like a vacation to me.
Oh, but the pressure she had, though,
Yeah.
she had and what
Yeah.
she had to work with. Because I knew someone who went into the service, and I was going like, what could she do? She's just so little and so
Yeah.
petite. And she got behind the computer and she, directed the planes and
Yeah.
told when to come in, go out, you got to.
Yeah, I think towards the end of her career, she was actually flying drones somewhere. I don't know where they're landing or where they're going, but who knows? Everything going on. She was a busy girl too.
Well, when y'all went fishing, did he loved to fish, I guess, as well?
Oh, that was an adventure. I mean, that was beyond a dream come true with us. Because I had planned on the trip already, probably the year before I retired. Because I bought all the trout magazines, all the fishing magazines. Because we fly fish, we other tackle, but mostly fly fishing. And I had highlighted all the places I wanted to go, and and figured out how long it would take. And the trip was 4 months, and we drove 16,000 miles fishing all over the western United States, nine states and 2 Canadian provinces, went into British Columbia and Saskatchewan. And I got a list of all the rivers we fished in. It's just
Yeah, but you had to get a passport to get into a lot of those places, right?
just Canada. That's all.
Just Canada, that's all?
Yeah.
You didn't have to have a passport to go to.
Oh, we're in the U.S. Rocky Mountain states, all the.
Oh, when you were telling me that, I
Yeah.
kept seeing you went, because you're saying
Overseas, no.
16,000 miles. I went,
I drove 16,000 miles. Me and my pickup
you
truck.
drove all that, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
stayed within the United States.
Yeah.
Oh, good grief.
We were everywhere. There's places that they were so beautiful. I mean, the scenery, the outside, the outdoors, the rivers, the streams, crystal clear water. You could see the fish swimming around, the one you wanted to catch. It was unreal.
Well, I know. My husband always said, there's no reason to even go outside the United States. There's so many places that you
It
can
is. It's amazing.
visit,
Yeah.
and it's good. It'll be good for you because,
Yeah.
as you know, I'm not good on geography. So,
Yeah.
anyway, that's
Yeah.
that's good, Joe.
Yeah,
Tom.
Like we fished in Arkansas, Missouri, Oregon, Washington State, Montana, Idaho, Arizona, Colorado again, Wyoming, British Columbia, and Saskatchewan. And there's probably 50 streams that we fished just on this list I have here. Rivers, streams, some of them are known, some are unknown. We fished some places that didn't even have a name.
That didn't even have a name.
They were just tributaries going into a major river or stream.
Okay, so you don't have to have a license for each.
Oh yeah, we
state
had a
you were
license
in?
for each state. Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, that was another thing. It was sort of funny because my wife she gave me X amount of dollars to start the trip, but she didn't realize we're going to be gone 4 months. And I said,
Wait.
Deb, we're broke. Can you put something on my ATM card? So she was just putting cash on the card, and to this day, she will not tell me how much we spent.
She won't tell you.
No, she said you don't want to know because you got.
Man, that's the first thing I'd have told him. I won't tell you what I had to
No,
go through,
she
and
just-
you got this much money.
She wanted us to enjoy it, and what that trip did is actually rehab his hand, because he was grabbing his fishing rod, he was grabbing fish, grabbing nets,
True.
he was helping me cook. We camped out most of the time in tents, and we slept in the truck a lot. I got the front seat, he got the back seat, and then every once in a while we'd have to get a motel because we didn't know who smelled worse, me or him, so we had to clean up. But it was unreal. And
There's a smell factor.
yeah, and we fished all those places, and then on the way coming back to Texas, we stopped in Wyoming in the fish and game department there. I still remember the guy's first name, Hank, and he said, I said, "There's any places close by we can fish? Just for a few days." And we went up in the Bighorn Mountains and fished the Tongue River. And he said, "Oh, by the way, antelope season just started today." And I didn't even want to look at Joey. I'm like, man, I said, he's dead. I said, let's go buy a rifle and some shells and go shoot some antelope. I'm like, we got to go home. Mom says, we got to go home. We're broke. But I got all the information from him. And on the way home, I was calling different places to set up a trip. and everybody was booked. Everybody was booked, and we were already in the Texas Panhandle. And I talked to this beautiful old lady. Her name was Mary Schultzman. I'll never forget her. She was 86 years old. She owned a 19,000-acre ranch in Wyoming.
Wow.
I said, ma'am, do you have any places to hunt? Yeah, come on up right now. I'm like, we're in big trouble now. And I didn't tell Joe, but I said, pencil us in, for within a week from now. So we get all the way home, pull in the driveway. I said, Deb, we got a chance to go back antelope hunting. Go, she said. I'm like, really? I said, something, okay. I said, Joe, get the guns, get the gear, get in the truck, let's go. So
what an understanding wife.
We drove 1,400 miles back to Wyoming, got our antelope, came back, and then by the time he came back, it was October, and he went into Marine Corps basic training.
That was
amazing.
What a trip.
Amazing.
That was.
It's like a dream you don't want to wake up from.
No, yeah.
It's just.
That was a godsend trip,
yeah.
because you had.
To me, you're talking about miracles and God and everything else. There had to have been a force behind me to do this trip and take him somewhere.
Right.
But you can't see. You don't have a crystal ball. You can't tell what's going to happen.
No.
But thank God we did.
What's cool is that no one can take those memories from you.
No.
They're yours,
and that's majority of the book.
Yes.
There's so many things in the book. I don't know if, it's a happy and sad thing. There's a lot of memories and there's a lot of sadness. And I talked to a couple people, and they said, I'm on my second box of tissues already reading this book. So
I told Tom, I said, I cry pretty easy. So
yeah.
When I read, I was just reading what
Teresa gave us.
Teresa gave me. So I was going through that and going, oh my word.
Yeah.
How am I going to get through this? This is going to be very hard.
Yeah, I talked to one guy, and he said he gave the book to another friend of his, and this will be a life-changing book for you to read. And it was down at Honor Cafe with Chris down there. Yeah.
Well, what's great about it would be inspiring, because you if you're a guy and you have a son and you go, I probably shouldn't wait. I should do this now, because it's either going to be him or me, and it'll maybe gone. And I want him to have some memories like Tom had.
I tell most parents, I wish I had spent more time with our kids, but I tell most parents now with little kids, younger kids, spend as much time with those children as you can, because you never know what's going to happen to you or them or what life's going to bring. I mean, do something.
So true.
And I've had several people call me and says, I'm taking my kid here, I'm going here with my other kid, and that's what you need to do. Your family, it's your life.
Is everything, everything.
Yeah.
And to have, a book like this that can be passed down, so nobody forgets Joey. It's going to be, this is great.
But, it's not just Joey. I look at every service member that's passed in this country since the Revolutionary War to now, the present time. How many markers are in Arlington right now? Do you got an idea? There's over 400,000 just in Arlington. That's 400,000 heroes there.
That's an amazing place to be.
Yes,
visit.
I've gone there twice, and it's riveting. You don't know until you go there.
And people, I mean, this was back in the day, but people come with such, they just feel it's this sacred ground, of course, and this is you get so quiet. Everybody gets so quiet, and we're just reverent, the whole time. And I just hope they keep that up, because it was amazing to watch that.
With me, you can almost feel the spirits there. You can feel the souls. It's something else there.
Yes.
Joey and the other crew, all the crew, have a big marker in Section 60 because the severity of the crash, we ended up burying Joey 3 times. We had 3 sets of remains come back home. The first set, when they flew him back from Afghanistan to Germany to Dover, back to Houston. And then about a month later, they called us again. There's some more remains. And then Arlington, the big marker with all 6 men on there, is it's a burial with unidentifiable remains from the crash. So,
from the crash. So,
so we've gone through 3 funerals with Joe.
Well, did y'all ever meet with the other families? Or?
Yeah, when you meet the families, all 6 families met us in Dover, Delaware. That's where all the service members come home. and it's called a dignified transfer. And that night it was 3 days before they flew from Germany, because the flight came in at like 4 o'clock in the morning. And
Oh, yeah, well, they had to be there to.
we're on the flight line in the rain, in the sleet, in the cold, in the blowing wind, and we're out there waiting for the plane to land. It looked surreal. You see this big jet coming down the run, flying in, landing,
It's huge. You're right.
and then the doors open up, and 19 caskets come off that airplane that night. 19 armed soldiers and Marines were killed, and the remains were sent back.
And they do that so respectfully.
Oh,
And
it's
just
you'll never forget it.
No.
It's especially with one of your loved ones, and for some reason Joey was the first one off the plane. I don't know why he got first in line, but that's what happened. But,
That's your boy.
yeah, and he's on the marker in Arlington. His name's listed first, and he's not highest ranking. They usually go by rank, the captains and co-pilots and that. So
Oh,
somebody's
is that how they do it?
normally by rank, yeah, but somebody's looking out for us. There's been a driving force behind me ever since everything happened. I've been journaling since the day it happened. That's why this book got made, and thank God for Teresa putting this thing together for me, because it's a miracle for that happening too. I like the picture too. The cover's good. I picked that though.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, well, did they lay out different layouts for you? And
No, I just looked around. I liked it. It reminds me of the first part of our fishing journey when Joey and I were in Arkansas. We fished the White River up there, and it was beautiful. We're up near the Bull Shoals Dam, and the river comes out of spillway. And that morning was it was epic. It was beautiful. It was still early morning. The sun hadn't come over the mountains yet, and there was a ribbon of fog going all the way down the whole mountain, all down the river. It just traced the river, and we were camping in a tent that weekend, that week pretty much. And Joey was up and ready to go. He has his rod going. He's out, and he's already out in the water. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting there. Hold on. And I hear him yell. You couldn't see him in the river. All you could hear him, but it was so foggy. Every once in a while, I could see a fly rod just the whips, coming back and forth and casting. And all of a sudden, he says, "Fish on, Dad, get the net." And I'm like, "What do you mean get the net? I got a big one." I'm like, "Okay." So I'm trying to get ready, run down there, try to get up to him, and the fish was just ripping down the river, pulling drag and everything else. And it was like almost a 28-inch brown trout, huge brown trout.
So he still had him hooked.
Yeah.
And he was running behind him.
He's chasing it down the river too. Yeah. And that was to me, that was the first.
Oh yeah.
First fish part of the 16,000-mile trip we took.
Yeah.
And, man, it was the setting was gorgeous. It was like a movie. It was like somebody filmed it. And it was just unreal what you're looking. I'm like, this is not real. I mean, you got to pinch yourself. And we just went on from there. We caught a lot of fish. And
It sounds like it'd be a series, of not realizing that was going to be your last trip.
Yeah.
But that it was. But what a trip. And it wasn't anything you could say like, oh, why didn't we do this or why didn't we do that? Because it was done, and you have all those memories. They're all yours.
We didn't have a GPS or anything back then. We went with an atlas.
On a map.
Where are we going today? And he's navigating, and we're trying to find these rivers and streams and all that. I had them outlined in my magazine, so I knew an idea where we were going to go.
I was going to say a year.
Yeah.
You spent a year.
Yeah, we're going to get close first, and then we're going to find the place.
But you were planning it just for you. You thought you were the only one that was going to go on the trip.
Yeah, and then Joey hurt himself, and I figured, you know what, he needs to go. Because he was real depressed. His outlook on going in the Marine Corps was done, because I figured his hand would be crippled. So the damage had happened to it, and all of a sudden it started working, and he was ready to go. And
that's so great.
Yeah,
I love
even
that.
in basic training, he was the helper. It was funny. The Hispanic Marine that he was bunked with, his last name was Nunez, and he had a green card. He was legal. He went in the Marine Corps to get his American citizenship, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And the drill instructor looked at Joe. He says, "Joe, you're a Texican, and he's a Mexican. I want you to make sure he gets through basic training and teach him how to read and write." So Joey tutored him all the way through basic. Okay, him and Nunez went to the same A school. And Joey graduated #1 in his A school, and guess who graduated #2? Nunes. So Joey worked.
That's
He
awesome.
worked with him the whole time, and
Wow.
by Joey graduating #1 out of his A school, and he was able to pick his assignment, so he went to Hawaii. So he went to Paradise, for a while. And,
Good.
yeah,
Good.
but he's always wanted to help. Same thing with all the Marines he met there. I've got letters and emails from them. It's like one Ricky would say, "You're either laughing at him or laughing with him." He's always cutting up. Some of our darkest moments when stuff was going bad in Afghanistan, he'd come in and crack up, and he'd get everybody lit up again, and they'd be on a little bit better attitude about everything going on.
What an attitude he has.
Yeah.
And he was so it was like clairvoyant in a way what things that he wrote, to
Yeah.
you, and
Yeah.
like that y'all had saved, and because I know in the back of their mind they're always thinking about that, like what happens if I don't make
Yeah.
it back.
Let me read that while
Yeah.
you're saying that too.
This is from his book. This is from
Yeah.
Tom Logan's book, Fishing with Joey. Fishing with Joey?
Yeah, fishing
With Joey, yeah.
Yep.
And this is,
Fish. Let me go back over here.
I told him he's going to have to read it. I couldn't read it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
amazing.
It was a page. Which page was that? 120, 122? Okay, there we go. We got it marked.
That's the most marked book I've ever seen
Well,
in my life.
I got a lot of them. This is a picture of Joe, but the what is written below it, it's really to his mom. And I got to take a breath before I read it because it's pretty intense. But
Well, the picture of
Yeah.
him,
yeah,
and
yeah.
see, this is what, if you get the book, he's in there. He's in there.
Yeah,
This
Joe's
is
in there. Yeah.
It's in black and white, though. It's this color.
Yeah, let me see if I can get through this. It's pretty wild.
Okay.
It says, "If I ever go to war, Mom, please don't be afraid. There are some things I might have to do to keep the promise that I made. I'm sure there will be some heartache. I know you'll cry tears, but your son is a Marine now, Mom, and there's nothing you should fear. Signed, Love, Joey."
That's so, it's perfect. That's so
It's-
perfect because
It's hard.
I'm sure, I don't know how you did it.
Yeah.
Because that's the main thing is
Yep.
when people realize these guys go out there and they have to first feel like they've got to protect their buddies, of
Yep.
course, but what their goal is to keep this country safe and to keep us safe. And so it's so selfless, the whole thing that they do.
Yep.
And that's what I'm saying. They have to have a servant's heart. It's not they're going in there because, oh, good, I can get I can go to school for free, or I can do this for free, and if I go in. It's not that. They have to have something a lot deeper to keep them there and to go through what they have to go through,
Yeah, the Marines are a different breed. They're a certain type of person, and I seeing what he did. Just like that deployment, in 7 months he flew 42 combat missions.
42.
Yeah, that means he was up there running and gunning. He was a called an aerial observer, which means he was assigned to a 50 caliber machine gun to give the ground forces support and take care of business from the air. And it was pretty intense stuff, because that's almost flying every day, day and night. He called me one time from Afghanistan and said, "Dad, I got the best job in the world." I'm okay. Tell me. He says, "I get to fly around helicopters all day and all night, shoot big guns, and get paid for it." And that's a 22-year-old. That's the attitude. They're invincible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is
And
that's so wonderful.
and they,
I mean, you have got wonderful memories,
yeah.
and you're right. It's sad and it's happy,
Yeah.
and what you've done, and
Yeah,
you've got
I'm grateful it's on paper now, because there's so many
Yes.
heroes that have passed that their memories and their stories have died with them.
oh
I've got a couple friends. John Rogers was a Vietnam Special Forces, did 3 tours, and he passed away, and he had unbelievable stories. Him and I used to talk. Another friend of mine, another veteran, flew 300 combat missions in Vietnam. And
A lot of times they don't like to talk about anything.
no, certain people they'll talk to, but most of the guys, like these guys here, you know, Joey. So I'll tell you about it when I get home, you know. And well, I heard from his friends what he was doing, the Marines he served with, which is pretty intense stuff. you know.
Well, I'm glad you had all the friends that you had too. I mean, all the friends
Yeah.
that were with him, and I'm sure everybody has a story, you know, like a story about him. I think that may be the closest you get to a live memory, you know, like because he was there with him and whatever he did.
Yeah, and matter of fact, last summer, 7 of them came up to Montana. We established the Red Lions Project in honor of Joey and his crew. We ended up buying 165 acres in the middle of nowhere, Montana, and we're building 6 cabins, one in honor of each Marine, and it's for combat veterans and their families to come up and decompress, relax, and enjoy the wilderness.
Oh, Tom, what a great idea!
It's amazing. We've been working hard at it. And Debbie and I and some volunteers have been building the buildings.
Do you have an event or anything that's coming up that people would?
We do it normally seasonally because Montana's weather is so unpredictable. We usually get up there at the end of May and we shut down in October. So it's pretty much the summer months.
Wow.
But
Well, Richard and I'd be glad to fly up there and be sure and put on and we have a live stream.
yeah,
Richard, hello.
yeah,
Oh, he went like that.
yeah.
Oh, that would be so much fun.
But that was Joey's last dream, his last phone call. I want to buy.
Yeah, to go. That's
I want
right.
to buy property in
Yeah.
Montana.
And you did it.
And build cabins for my Marine Corps buds to do it. And I didn't want to go back and go all the way through all the places we went, bring up the memories and stuff. My wife
Right.
said, we're doing it. That was Joey's dream. So
That's-
Debbie made me get in the truck, we're going. And we looked for about a month all through different parts of Montana. We finally found this piece of property. And we drove up 4 miles up on a mountain road in the middle of nowhere. And pristine wilderness, and it was evening, and the sun rays were just coming through the trees. It was like twinkle time. It was just gorgeous. And she looked at me, hey, this is it. I said, yeah, it is.
That's and see, and the woman would know when you
Yeah.
walk in the door. I could live here.
Yeah.
I could be here.
Well,
I could build here.
It's the cabins are nice. They're about 900 square foot buildings, 2 bedrooms, bathrooms, showers, everything else,
and
kitchen.
plus you always want to be outside.
Yeah, you're gonna be outside
so
most of the time. Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah, summertime it gets light like 4:30 in the morning, and it doesn't get light till about 11:30 at night in June, July.
It doesn't get dark until 11:30 at night.
Yeah, we're that far north,
Good. They're arguing about the time
Daylight saving, yeah.
Daylight savings time, and I wish you could vote. So could we put this all to a vote and next presidential thing, and then they'll tell you what we want.
Yeah.
This is what we want, and because he said it was like 50-50. Some people want it to be light in the mornings, and so their kids don't have to go to school in the dark, and then some want light when they come home. So
Yeah,
that's
last summer
great.
we had 7 Marines out of Joey's unit that served on that deployment come up, and they helped us.
And they helped you
Yeah, because I put them to work. They're not coming up there to kick back. And
or sit around and
they helped
tell
finish one of the
stories.
cabins out inside. All the internal inside is done, and they want to come back. And there's a group that wants to come back this summer too. So it's by word of mouth pretty much because we can't handle a lot of people. We have 6
Yeah.
cabins, but it's
Well, I'm sure they're going like, okay, this is going to be mine.
Yeah,
Once they start working on it, and they feel really, really attached to it.
But the outdoors is what we love. Joey loved it. I mean, we could, from our cabin, on top, our cabin was called Joey's Cabin. We could look down the mountain and we could see the Clark Fork River down below us.
Goodness.
If you drive down, you're only 3 miles from the river. You could go fishing down there. We do a lot of kayaking in the summer. We'll go from one town to the next, 15, 20 miles at a time.
Oh, did you watch the series Yellowstone?
Yeah.
Were there places there that reminded you of what y'all?
Oh, yeah. It's just,
So-
you're talking about the same part of the country. I mean,
Yeah.
once you're there, you don't want to leave.
That's what they say.
I come back to Texas every year because we can't stay up there during the winter. One winter we had 5 feet of snow up there. I'm like, you can't live in that. It's too intense. It gets below zero. And I just can't wait till May every year to get up there.
Well, I'd never been anywhere. And I got married, and my husband said, we're going to go to Denver. And I went, to Colorado? Colorado, whatever they called it, say it. And he says, yeah. And I said, but that's mountains, right? And he goes, yeah, we're going to see mountains. And I said, I've never seen a mountain.
Wow.
And he goes, that's sad. And so we went, and and you felt so secure. I mean, I felt like the mountains were like protecting the whole area we were in. And I loved it. And I said, I can't go back to Texas. It's all flat.
Yeah.
Texas is so flat, but it is beautiful. I mean, whenever you have that kind of change of scenery, because we don't have much scenery.
Well, the whole our property is unique too, because it's that 160 something acres, completely landlocked by Lolo National Forest, and Lolo National Forest is 3,150 square miles of wilderness. So that's a diamond just dropped in the middle of wilderness. So anywhere you go, I mean, there's so much wildlife up there. There's some scary stuff up there. We got grizzly bears, black bears, wolves, mountain lions, and I think I saw Bigfoot once, but that's debatable. We'll have to wait on that one.
That'll certainly get the interest of the people there.
Yeah.
I only have about 2 minutes left,
Okay.
and so I want to let people know how to get to you and how to get a copy of the book and how, to find out about the Red Lions and all that.
Well, the book is available on Amazon, and then all my contact information is in the book, so you got to get the book to get a hold of me.
There you go. That was smart. Who thought
bottom
of that?
That's bottom line. But, yeah.
Oh, that was smart.
Because if you look me up online, you might find something you don't like, but you never know. I'm pretty low-key.
But online, what would they go to? What website?
Just go to Amazon and just type in Fishing with Joey, and right now it's I think still sitting at #1 in its category, and it's got a 5-star approval on it.
Wow. Okay.
So I guess I think I give it the credit to Teresa, because when I gave her the manuscript and all that, it wasn't that good. She tuned it up. She did a great job.
She tuned it up.
Oh yeah.
I love. And while we keep looking over there, is because we have Tricia and Tricia,
yeah.
Tricia, his daughter,
Yeah.
and Teresa, the publisher, and but. Tom said, no, I don't want them saying anything, so he made them be quiet while he talked. No, they just wanted to be backup and support.
They're my
for
moral
him.
support, and kick me under a table if I said something I wasn't supposed
Yeah,
to.
that's what your wife was to tell him. Be
Yeah.
sure and do that for him. But I always want to end our program with, first of all, thanking you so much. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
And all that you've done, and Tricia, thank you so much for being here. And we'll have to have Teresa on, to talk about the publishing.
That'd be
business.
great. Yeah.
That would be fun. And I always want to say goodbye to our first responders and say thank you so much for how brave you are, and how that you're running in when we're running out. And so thank you so much for being the brave people that you are. And call somebody you love, okay? All right. We'll see you tomorrow. We have a show tomorrow. Yes, we do. Ask me anything. Oh, dear.